episode 3 of the Poseidon Healing Center podcast. I have my friend Eric here. He's going to share his story with us. Thank you for everybody who is tuning in and listening to the sharing. Make sure you go to PoseidonHealingCenter.com and check out the services that we offer. But here is Eric. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Fantastic, man. Been a busy day, but I'm glad we got to make this work.
Yeah,
So,
same here.
so, getting started with the conversation, it starts off real simple, man. How did you get your start? What sparked your interest in spirituality and, things of that nature?
Jeez, that's a hard start. I guess I've always been connected to a little more than what I could see. And I guess as you get older, that starts becoming disconnected from you, slowly but surely. But I realized these last few years, I just have more of a draw to the unknown and to make it known. There just seems more of a pull to want to fill in the blanks of what I'm seeing, and
Yeah, for sure. Was there anything in particular that, kind of sparked that interest? Because, a lot of
children.
times we're very, you said children?
I didn't have any, now I got some.
Yeah,
So typically, I didn't have too much care for the world around me other than living in it.
right,
Now you tend to realize with kids that you want to do as best as you can for them.
right,
So, and stay here as long as you can to teach them as much as you can to give them the best. It's not that I'm going to teach them and they're going to learn the best of everything, but they'll have another example to learn from.
right.
Whether it's right or wrong, whatever they learn, the more people you have to learn from, the better off you're going to be. So
Absolutely.
if
And
I'm just
was it having kids that made you start asking, certain questions?
certain questions, I think most of them were already there. The questions with the kids more or less is like, what could I do to extend my time here?
Yeah,
And then that leads you to the question, what can I do to extend my time? Period.
right. Right,
And
period.
that's, I
Yeah,
think, where we're at, to where, all right, our time here is going to be gone at a certain point, but where do we go from there?
right.
And when we leave this time, is it just leaving what we see? Is it leaving completely? What is actually being left? And
Yeah, for sure. And it starts to open up and unravel really fast.
yeah, exactly. Because from what I grasp, the only way to keep what you learn is to go up when you pass.
Right,
From what I'm thinking, what I believe. So if you pass and you're in a negative state, it's all gone. I don't
right,
believe you're going to retain anything. That's not being able to see down a dimension or see up. That's because we're stuck here. When you get up, you're going to retain what's below, I'd imagine. But if you go below, you're going to not know what's up and you're going to forget all of that.
right. And we might have to do all of this all over again. Well, some of us will probably volunteer for that, but some of us will just have to, we'll just have to do it again if we didn't learn the necessary lessons.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, having kids, I can definitely relate to that. Having a few myself and extending the time here, like longevity, taking care of your health and wellness and that type of stuff, but also the quality of the time that we all have, right? Is just the existence that we have and what we're doing with it, and we start to question, start to look at that under a microscope and go, I'm spending a lot of my energy, time, and effort over here, but maybe I need to shift priorities and that kind of stuff.
Negative and positive.
Yeah,
Yeah, before kids, a lot of my time was on the negative side. And even once I had kids, and it's always just been a fight to swing over and stay positive, which is a lot of
yeah,
what me and you've been talking about, which is a lot of what this is. It's a lot of what we're talking about in general, trying to stay positive and keep a positive mindset compared to the negative, because the negative is only going to bring you down in a sense.
right.
And, you know, it seems like there's a bottom, but man, you can keep on going down. If you stay negative for more than one day, it takes a lot more to break free from that.
I know,
You
right?
know,
What do we say to I think we were talking about this the other day, is it's when when things are negative, it seems like it's infinite, meaning it's going to last forever, oh, we're like stuck in it, but when things are good, we're like holding on to it because we know it's finite. We know that when things are good, it's like, ah, but no matter what, it's like when things are bad, this too shall pass. When things are good, this too shall pass. And it's a moment to moment fight sometimes, because when you're involved, when you're involved in the world, there's a ton of things that are constantly trying to get at you, to trigger you and stuff like that. And I feel like when you have the opportunity to uh, be, to be presented by something that would normally trigger you, and the more you grow and the more you elevate and raise your vibration, a lot of those triggers will just kind of like suddenly they're water off a duck's back, whereas before they would have sent you into a rage.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because what I was thinking is like when you when you have a trigger point or something that's going to have you um think negative, so that would bring you more from a upper state down low, to where if you didn't have an upper state, you were just in a single plane, then you probably wouldn't be conscious, or you wouldn't be human, or where we're at. What makes positive so positive is negative. I
Right.
think that's part of the
Right.
reason, part of the thing that I'm trying to really figure out. So if you just have only positive, you wouldn't even know you have a positive feeling. It would just be the normal
It would
feeling.
just be the normal. Yeah.
And the only thing that makes positive so good is
Yep.
when you come back from the negative.
The
So
dynamics. Yep.
it'd be like if, not that you could always say positive, which you can, but without ever being stuck in the negative. It's like always being rich. You don't know what it would be to poor. That's
Right.
why you have your people that are your entrepreneurs that actually start a business and start from scratch, have a lot more empathy for poor people than someone that just had that silver spoon from day one. They
Sure.
don't know. You can't even ask them for money. They'll look at you crazy. I remember when I was like 15, I'd go to the mall. You'd ask someone for a couple dollars to get the city bus. They'll look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
Walk over to a bum and he'd give you the last dollar in his pocket.
Wild.
And
Yeah.
it's just people, how we are, the way we grew up, the way we were. But
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and that's I have to say that to maintain that positive vibration, at least personally, it's really helped me to have one, a daily routine, and two, like, some sort of, mantra or like reminder of hope, because when things are trying to get at you, and a lot of it can happen, and constantly things are trying to get at you, it's like you got to have something to fall back on, and know that, hey, you're okay, like everything's fine, and but do you have one of those daily practices? Do you have one of those mantras, or?
no, that's a good point. The one thing that I probably been I have a routine when it comes more to work and my daily things, but nothing that um separates me from my normal life. I think is like what you're trying to say. Even if it's a routine where I really want to get into meditating a little more, just clearing my mind, going outside,
Sure.
standing outside in the grass. Seems like most times when I get to do that, the sun's already set. But still, it's nice to get out there even at night.
Hey man, that's
Which,
sometimes that's a daily routine, dude. Just getting out and taking a breath and connecting with nature, maybe doing some grounding or whatnot. But I mean, sometimes just taking that pause for yourself, even if it is at the end of the day, it kind of gives you that reflection.
yeah, yep, yeah,
Yeah,
connect back to the ground, really. Just especially the life that we've tend to start living with these shoes, and it's just garbage. Like you're basically blocking your soul from expanding out your aura to where it should be, and they mock you doing it, name it your soul when they do it.
yeah,
And you're literally trapping your body. And it's like people think, oh yeah, well, you just get tired and you take your shoes off and no, you don't take your shoes off and feel good. You take your shoes off and your aura, your essence gets to expand to its true potential,
yeah, Yep.
just at that moment. And it's like such a great feeling. And that rubber on your feet's just blocking your energy to connecting to the earth or everything where you walk.
100%. 100%. I mean, rubber. We used to wear like leather shoes and hemp and things like that. And somehow we switched to rubber and everybody wonders why we have like this dysfunction and disease and stuff. We are electromagnetic beings wearing rubber on our feet. The one thing that stops
Electric
electric magnet.
magnetism.
Yes, 100%. I mean, goodness gracious. And I have to say, like on that point, like having a daily routine of getting out in nature and you know, I can speak from a man's perspective, obviously, but that is one place where I can go and always find myself, find God, is in nature. And why I have a backyard full of trees and just go stand in the grass and walk around barefoot, man. Like that's the place where you can kind of get back to that wild side, even if I mean, I'm in the suburbs, so it's not that wild, but I mean, hell, my neighbor said he saw a bear cross through their front yard the other day, so I guess it's kind of wild.
Yeah, definitely. When I was living in the Estates, I took a walk, and when I came back, there was an alligator in my driveway. It was only like 3.5, 4 foot. But when there's an alligator sitting in your driveway and you were just walking past there 2 minutes ago, that's definitely a little startling, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's always, especially at night when the sun goes down and you can actually see all the stars. I know there's like a huge connection to the sun, but I'm also repelled to the stars. So
right.
I don't know what that is, but it's like that was probably my original thing, my original connection. I used to always watch all the history shows with stars and universe and
Yeah,
know all the information, light speed, the speed of sound, the closest star, and all the stuff like that, and what that actually means. Um, it's hard really to know, but there's a large connection on the on all the stars and what's going on in here. And it doesn't
sure.
seem like there should be. It I still That's one thing I still haven't kind of grasped at all. But I was watching this video like 10 years ago when it was breaking down people and how they act in relationships. And
Right,
I'm like, based on when they were born. So
right.
based on the stars. And
Sure.
they were breaking that down and they got to July and I was like, this is hocus pocus. Like I'm just reading from and then they started talking about me and I'm like,
Uh-oh. They're on point.
why are they on point? This just doesn't make any sense. Why am I born this time of year? And then all people like me are like, personality can be completely different, but certain things are just very similar in how you are between
Yeah.
when you were born. And that's just, there's a large connection there.
There were ancient civilizations that made like matches, like couples, uh man and woman, husband and wife, based off of strictly off of their astrological chart. That's how they were
But they did pretty good.
betrothed. Yeah, I mean it's how the civilization was run. And here's the thing. Some of the ancient civilizations that you always still had the option, but you had the option to not, right?
So
You had the,
this is what they
but if you were
prescribe for
going
you,
to, these were your options based off of their birth charts, but you had the option to not at all, right? So you didn't have to marry, but if you did marry, you had to marry these
which is the smart way
choices.
because it's kind of like telling you this is the good choice for you, but
Right.
you don't have to take it. And then you believe that because they wouldn't tell you you have to take it or you can go here. If this was what they were trying to hocus pocus you and force upon you, they would do that. When your
Sure.
civilization gives you the options, it makes it more real.
Well,
Because then
it
it
seems to
gives
me
you,
that why would they have done that if there was nothing to it, and as the also the Hermetic philosophies say, as above, so below, as within, so without. That there's a huge,
connection.
microcosm, macrocosm. There's a lot to that. So I think
So
there's a lot of wisdom to it.
we're just a minute part of what's up there.
100%.
So depending on when, like I've always felt a lot of things going on in my life, and everybody's kind of like that, a little superstitious, and I'll go to do something. It's like the stars have to align perfectly. Like I'll be ready for everything, and then it's like I'm on pause, and then once that moment hits, then okay, go ahead. You
Yeah.
know, but it's like, it's like things have to play out more in a whole state than just it seems like it's going on right here. And that's, I guess in the grand scheme of things, when they'll say, like time is really not part of what's going on, but somehow like we perceive it. It must be something in this dimension, but if you were to go up, it's like all the same time.
Right.
So if, when you ascend or go into out of body experience, the time does not exist.
Time does not exist. Yeah, it's a really a human uh,
Concept.
creation, a concept. Yeah, for sure. And who knows, who knows why, but most of the ancients definitely their quote unquote time was the stars. The moon calendar, everything was based off of the moon, not the sun. Solar calendar didn't come in until much later. And then obviously the seasons were judged by the stars, right? In different seasons, as the weather changed in harvest time, springtime, summertime, wintertime, all that stuff, the stars were different. And there were individuals that their main job was to track the movement of the heavens, the stars, the planets, the moon, etc. And that's the only time that they really paid any attention to.
Yeah, I'm so jealous that that's not me and living that era, because because that could have been my lifetime, and like just studying the stars. It's like, man, can you imagine living the time frame where, hey, what do you want you to do? Oh, but this is what would be perfect for you. I know you, and I think studying the stars forever until you
Yeah,
pass would be like, and what kind of knowledge am I gonna gain? Like the knowledge they gained was so little compared to what we can now with telescopes and things. But that's all they did all day was just study stars and all night.
absolutely.
Man, they
Absolutely.
you'd learn a lot though. It's
Is there
amazing just
anything
compared
in
to.
particular up there that you're drawn to? Like when you go out and you see the stars, is there something that when you see it, you kind of have to smile?
Um, a lot of times it's the differences.
Yeah,
I'm always attracted to like Orion's belt, something big. Like when
yeah,
you see the center of his belt.
sure.
I don't know why, but I've always tracked that, especially when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And I got reasons why I think that could be now. But other than that, something different. Like you'll every so often you'll see like that's not a star. What is that doing there? And you get frustrated and try to, and then like, all right, let's look it up. It's got to be a planet. And you
yeah,
look it up, and sure enough, it's like Venus or Mars or something like
sure,
that.
sure,
And
sure.
that's always cool when you come across something like that, and you're like, oh yeah, I knew that wasn't an actual star. That's not supposed to be there. That's way too big. Um, a few years ago, right when I moved into Cape Coral, I seen I was sitting outside, and I noticed a trail of stars, or it wasn't really stars. It was just a trail of lights that were just looking up in the sky, probably about, holding my hands apart, probably about 6 inches apart, which was probably maybe like 30, 40 miles, maybe more than that, but way up in the sky. And it was just like one after another, really faint moving lights,
Yeah,
and almost like in a line. And I'm staring at it, looking at it. And I'm like, all right, well, no one's going to believe me. So one in the house got the whole family, everybody come out here and look at this and
yeah,
tell me I'm not crazy. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I've been gazing stars my whole life. But these two here are literally got lights and beeping, looking at those moving
yeah,
through with no lights and no beeping.
sure,
Those are not
sure.
planes that I know of, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure. And that kind of stood out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is
But
wild. That reminds me, it strikes a bell of when there was this like train of satellites. This was a while ago, and I don't particularly. It must have been years ago at this point, maybe 2020, something like that. But there was a trail of satellites. It was literally this like string of lights. It looked like a train of lights, literally just going through the sky. So that's the wildest thing. And my buddy was like, "Yeah, that's the trail of Starlink satellites that Elon Musk put up there, or something like that."
they could have been just a little more separated out.
I have
Maybe it was a
no
different
idea,
thing, very
man.
similar, or another person, but it sounds like exactly what that would have been. Either that or
Yeah,
some kind of spacecraft that's different than, you know, um, planes that we know. You know, there's all kinds of stuff they got
Well,
flying.
speaking of spacecraft, and I have to say that I really love looking up and seeing Orion, the constellation Orion, and I've come from to understand through research and studying different books and all types of different subjects that there's actually a lot going on in the Orion constellation as far as like
In the
other
belt.
supposed other worlds, other planets that way far out there, different star systems that have other planets that are holding other beings, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I've never been there. I've never seen it with my own eyes. I can validate, but I can only imagine that throughout time and memorial of people reporting. I mean, this must be hundreds and hundreds of stories
Yeah.
of beings that have come and even come to Earth from Orion's from
Belt.
different places that are actually in the Orion star system. So very interesting. And I always wondered why I was so attracted to that constellation. And I wonder if there's a remembrance, if we are looking up at the stars and we have some form of attraction to something going on up there, because Orion comes out during fall and winter, right? Late summer, fall, winter. And that's the times that you can see or the Orion constellation. And I wonder if we as human beings, we look up at the stars, if there's anything that we're particularly drawn to, I wonder if it's some part of us that's remembering something in a past life, or I have no idea.
Yeah, and the things I do know about that is so I think it was the Mayans, but it could have been like the Aztecs. They said that that's where creation started. That all life came from that area, life that
Hmm.
we know on this planet and
Right,
other beings and stuff like that. That's
right,
where it all came from. And so now we know today, when we look with telescopes into the belt deep, there's
right.
a cluster. I mean the pillars of hands, I believe, or
Sure,
fingers, that's in
sure,
there.
sure.
And if you look at the pillars, it's actually there's stars being born. That's like a
Yeah,
star nursery being
right, right.
born.
It's
So
amazing.
if the stars are being born there, that means they're being projected out and connecting to the solar system. And, it's probably a couple places in our galaxy doing that. But that
Yeah,
place, there's enough movement where stars are being born. And hey, we know we're all stardust. Stars are being born. That could be our home thing,
legacy. Yeah,
Yeah, so my theory is, that, when people pass, we know about our souls a little bit. We got some knowledge about that and what goes on and our theories and stuff like that. But what type of energy system will the star have? When a star goes, that could be what breaks up and spreads out and puts the Holy Spirit in all of us.
sure.
For
Yeah,
all we really know. You know what I mean? That
yeah.
could be where that could be the other side of, hey, you're all stardust. Yeah, because this stuff came from stars. But what about the rest of the stuff that we don't
Right,
see? The
right, right, right.
electromagnetism. That's
Absolutely.
stardust as well.
Yeah, because we all know that energy never dies; it just disperses, and does something, goes and does something else, creates new life elsewhere. That's a hell
Yeah.
of a theory for sure. I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
Yeah, so you figure down there in the belt, if stars are being made, so the gases are just being pumped together, compressed, whatever, electromagnetism things, and then at some point they're being born. So I like to engage into the thought of what spirit, what power is being put into them. Is that just
Yeah,
gravity, magnetism saying, "Hey, here I am compressing, bam, here's the jolt of juice," and then you go? Is that
right.
what's creating that? And is that still the same energy we're connected to, or is that a separate each solar system? Is there separate
Yeah,
entities? It feels more than just it seems like we weren't from this star system in a
right.
way. Like there's more to what we know. I know humans always tend to want to be explorers and explore
Sure.
is part of it. So that could not be, we could be from here. But I can just only imagine if we turn all the lights off and then look up. And when I was going down 27 one day, coming up to Broward County, and I seen this large glow in the sky, and I was shocked. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then it took me a
Yeah.
minute. As I'm getting closer and closer, I realized those are the lights from the highway, and we're basically coming
Yeah.
up with civilization. And the further and further
Wild.
you go in, there's no more glow in the sky. The whole sky is just void of light
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
or like kind of lit, void of the light coming down to us because it blocks.
Sure.
We used to go
Yeah.
out to Naples when I was a when I was a small kid, and you would go out there and look and see millions of stars.
Oh
So like
man, I've seen it.
country,
South Pacific, the being in the Navy in the South Pacific, so south and in the South China Sea,
you can see the
you are
galaxy from the south hemisphere, right?
unbelievable. Unbelievable. I used to sit up when I was on night shift. I'd be on the deck of the aircraft carrier, sitting on the hood of a helicopter, looking up at the stars. Now the ship is obviously blacked out because it's nighttime. So there's no light pollution, there's no noise pollution,
Yeah,
nothing. And let me tell you something, dude, I never seen a view of the stars like that. It looks so expansive, it's just breathtaking.
yeah, it's
But
amazing.
but I was looking at through a telescope. We got this really powerful telescope, for a home telescope. It's pretty awesome. And I mean, you can see the moon like it right up on it. Love looking at when the moon's full and that those types of things. But also, using these star apps and whatnot, you can kind of hone in on some certain things, right? And it
Yeah,
gets to this point where you're doing like little tiny fine adjustments to the telescope because even one click too much and you've passed what you're looking for. But the way this thing really zooms in to certain stars, to certain stars like in the constellations and
yeah,
whatnot, I was kind of noticing this thing, and it struck me because I'd never had this powerful of a telescope before. But as I was honing in on these constellations and honing in on these individual stars inside of the constellation, I noticed that every one that I honed in on, I'm seeing shooting stars. Like I pull back off the telescope and I look up and I go, I don't see any shooting stars. But when I look through the telescope every single time, I'm seeing shooting stars. Now, I know what the story of what they're trying to tell us those are, but you know, I don't know that I'm buying it.
yeah.
I
Do
don't
you
think
think
they're
that
shooting
they're
stars at all, man. I think those well, what I really think is that they're you know, ships moving that damn fast through space.
yeah? There's that one that they have that's that asteroid that just came into the solar system last year, and they said when they spotted it, it came at us, like it turned
Yeah.
around, and they're coming towards us. And they were talking about it throughout the year. A lot of amateur astrologers were talking about it, and now NASA's worried about it because it turned around and came towards us. That's
Right.
really the only way I could think of that being possible without like a steering wheel of some
Yeah.
kind is if it's on an elongated orbit and it just like hit the end of that orbit and it's just when it could be going around
Okay.
like a
Okay.
brown
Sure.
door, so the star's not there
Yep.
anymore and it's
Yep.
far away from us, but still close by us, and it just hit that end and it's swinging around.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like a cigar shape, and it should be close to us here in November. And from what I'm hearing, like if you listen to a lot of like the astrologers, what's going on Facebook, and then the amateur ones, and then the ones that really like just hocus pocus, is that there's supposed to be like a fake alien invasion coming up soon. Where
Oh, well,
they're
who
going to
knows
say
if it's
there's going to
gonna
be
be
an invasion of aliens and that it might not be real, that they're going to throw that off because they've
yeah,
been doing holograms and things that could make you really believe that's true.
sure.
So that could even be all set up, or who really knows what exactly their intentions are. But when NASA's worried about something coming towards us,
Yeah.
they're pointing to a direction to let people know, hey, there's something out there, and soon they're going to let everybody know. Is what they've been kind of letting out at. Every
Well,
November there's been
this
coming.
disclosure is certainly happening slowly but surely, but I think we're in the time period now and from I mean, just a vast amount of information that I consume and from different sources and a lot of these sources are not connected in any way. And the reason why I consume that much information is so that way I can draw
Your own.
similarities, right? Connection points throughout all of the stories. And trust me,
To
with
get your best
with as much
opinion.
information as I consume, you're bound to come across a lot of bullshit. But
Yeah.
um,
Stories that cross paths that didn't intend to, and then it gives you more knowledge
sure.
of what could be real or not.
That's it. That's it. I'm looking for connection points. I'm looking for similarities. It's the same thing that I did when I was studying ancient religions and the diversity of world religions that we have today. Anyway, it's so a lot of the similarities of what I've been hearing is from October this year to October next year. There is going to be an event that is undeniable. It's not going to be able to be faked. It's not going to be, it's because of the times that we're in and people having to make a really to have to make a decision on whether or not they want to remain the same or if they would like to elevate their
Yeah, there's
consciousness.
supposed to be like a split
A
where
split.
either you're
It's
gonna
already
ride.
happening, man. COVID, like all the things, like there's so many examples, but COVID was a big one. Obviously, we just had the Charlie Kirk thing, and
Well,
these
the
are,
guy, the one guy predicted that when
yeah,
2012 came, they said this was like the beginning of an era, and it's really going to
sure,
come to a peak around 2025. And
sure.
they laid out what was going on with the economy in the
Yep,
world and da da
yep,
da da, and a few things might have been left out. But yeah, there's definitely a time of knowledge being expanded across the world that's undeniable and unstoppable. That the knowledge
absolutely.
is going to be spread around, and no matter what they try to do, it's coming around, and it's
Yep,
kind of even the playing field out. I think the internet kind of started that. If something comes out, it's hard to really
sure.
nullify it like they used to be able to.
Right,
So they do a good job of doing it to an extent, but it's just I think even they're getting to a point where it's like some of this knowledge has to come out because they're, like you're saying, things are going to change to this new part. So, in other words, they're going to have another section of thoughts and things that they're going to keep from us. And they're
sure.
probably going to open up this section and be like, all right, my dad would always say, oh, when the government has something, you find out about it 10, 20 years later.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean,
So,
this stuff is known, the knowledge is there, but this is why we call it the time of revelation, is because what a revelation is the revealing of truth. And yes, the in one aspect, the internet is has been very dangerous to a lot of the population of humanity. However, playing it from the positive side, the internet has played a very huge role in the awakening of consciousness of
spreading of the
humanity
knowledge to awaken
because
the
you can't,
conscience.
it gave us a way to
Heck yeah, it did.
communicate a diverse amount of ideas, and the thing is that you can't stop it. You can
No.
shut down a website, you can try to silence a voice, you can do this, but you can't stop it all. So you have a wave of negativity, but then you also have a tool that was created potentially for the negative, but it backfired, right? I
Yeah, I
mean,
think the
they can't shut up everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the new thing that's starting to unfold that we're talking about is not the internet, but the connection, the net that we have. Like the internet connects on their web, which
Yes.
might be the same web we have, but us learning that connection. So where we don't need to
Yes.
grab the phone and connect, da, 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 da. Like we could almost consciously wake up to where we can conversate without this technology. And the phone's probably
Certainly.
laughing at us like, you dummies, you can do that right now. You just don't even know how to use this, and that and switch it
Yeah.
on,
Sure.
and they know because that's just knowledge that it's not that they have been given, it's just knowledge that's there to be learned and they've learned it,
Well, I
because
think it's
their
with that.
ones and zeros go way deeper than words.
Yes,
They're
for
always spitting
sure.
out ones and zeros, so they're always learning.
For
Every time they do
sure.
a new update, they just shoot out more knowledge, and we're just like stuck with the same.
Well, I think
And
with
I think
that
that's what's
comes with that unity consciousness, right? So
they could be helping to break it for
as the
us.
world kind of goes like this, because it kind of has to. I mean, we can't
Yeah,
keep doing what we're
you
doing
can't pull
to
everybody.
we can't keep doing what we're doing to the earth. We have to kind of go in a direction that one is, preserving ourselves, preserving the earth, and growing. We have to grow. We have to expand our consciousness. We have to understand we're not alone out there. And the thing is that with all of the revelation that's already happened, what is next? It's
Yeah.
going to be hard lines in the sand. Unfortunately, events are going to happen that are going to challenge people's belief system to the core.
Yeah, but that's
To the
because
core.
some people believe to the each step by step what they say from the churches. Like
Sure.
if you believe another man's agenda to be yours, meaning someone made a church, just a single man started a church or started a congregation from another one and broke it down, he's got his own, then he's going to teach you what he learned, how he learned it, and give it to you.
Right.
Not good for me. I'm sorry.
Sure.
But for me, I want to know all of it.
Right.
So
Right.
you're only giving me how you learned it. But when the
Yes.
biggest churches learn it, they give you only what they want you to learn so they can maintain the power in their system. And
Certainly.
that I think is what either the internet's going to break free completely
It has already
or we're
started.
going to learn access. Yeah, I think what I think it's more like I think we're learning alongside these AIs and we're gaining slowly the access, not accidentally, almost like they're giving it to us or we're learning it because they already know it and we're watching them
Sure.
use it and we're like, oh, we can do that. Yeah, we're all connected to this.
Yeah.
And if we fully connect our minds, our third eye to this information,
Yep.
then we could work it like ones and zeros. And maybe that
100%.
is like the kinetic world where you can think and talk without words, and we know
Certainly.
other species kind
Certainly.
of do that.
Well, and the more we get into this, I think the direction really, and we only have a couple minutes left, but I would love to continue this conversation on another episode. But I think where we're at right now is the rift, right? The splits are already been happening. COVID, various other the drama is thick right now, and it's making people, it's waking a lot of people up, but it's also solidifying people in their dogmatic belief systems. And I think that rift is kind of happening like this now. I can't say for sure how it's all going to go down, but I think when this phenomenon happens, but like I said, I believe it's going to be between October this year and October of next year.
Yeah,
And undeniable, can't fake it. It's going to be right out there to the public. It's going to be plain as day, and it's not going to be something that the powers that be can be in control of the dispersion of that information. And that doesn't mean that they're not going to try, and it doesn't mean that their trying isn't going to fool some people. But what I am saying is that phenomenon is going to be like the whoa, I always knew there was something else and we
yeah.
weren't alone. And then the other side is gonna
Everybody's going to know it to an
is gonna
extent.
is gonna drop dead because they don't, they
Believe that could
they they
possibly.
they, they can't handle the fact that their whole ego and belief system and everything they've believed in their entire life was just shattered by one phenomenon. But unfortunately, I kind of think that that's
That's their
something that
fault for believing in someone else and not opening your eyes. If some man just comes and tells you this, you got to look at it as which power does he have? If he has
right,
none, maybe I believe him. If he has a ton of
sure,
power, he can get bent
right.
because I don't believe in somebody with power because it's actually what it says in the Bible that they took out. And people with
Sure.
power have ill intentions and you shouldn't
Right.
trust them.
Yep. Yep. And
You
yeah,
know,
it's yeah, man, it's wild. And dude, thank you for joining me on this call. We're gonna do another one soon, because we barely scratched the surface. And I
yeah,
love that
definitely.
you're a deep thinker and that we've had such great conversations. And thank you for doing
Yeah,
it
same
again.
here, man.
Thank you
Most
guys
definitely.
for tuning
Anytime.
in, and join us for another episode. And it'll be announced when Eric's going to be back on the podcast. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
All right. See you, brother.